As the centennial anniversary of the beginning of World War I approaches next month, the National Churchill Museum will be honoring their namesake. Churchill, whose lifetime found him not only in Great Britain and throughout Europe, but also in Cuba, India, Sudan, and South Africa, will be honored in what may seem an unlikely place, Fulton, Missouri. Kit Freudenberg, the interim assistant director at the museum, explains the unlikely significance of this small Missouri town.
In 1946, Winston Churchill was invited to come here to speak, which he did.
At that time, his party had been voted out of power in Parliament, and he was finding less time on the floor than he wanted. So he took his chance at Fulton, accepting an honorary degree and giving a speech titled Sinews of Peace that has since taken on the name of one of his most famous turns of phrase.
From Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the continent.
The iconic Iron Curtain quote is considered by many to be the beginning of the Cold War. It certainly speaks to Churchill's influence and his influential personality. Freudenberg says Churchill, throughout his life, displayed core qualities of a natural leader.
He was brilliant. He had creative flashes, and he was just brilliant. The other thing is he had what's called plod, P-L-O-D. He kept trying and kept trying and kept trying.
At the beginning of World War I, Churchill was the First Lord of the Admiralty. He supported a military operation in 1915 to open up a supply route to Russia by going through the Dardanelles, which were held by Germany's ally Turkey. It was hoped the Russians would then focus their energy in the east and relieve the stalemate of the Western Front. The campaign would later be infamously known as Gallipoli.
It was a horrible failure. Many men were lost. There was a lot of talk about the fact that it's all Churchill's fault. It wasn't his plan, but he supported it. And so he resigned. He resigned from the First Lord of Admiralty, and he thought that he would be able to continue in politics. And you have to admire that about someone. He had a horrible failure. He took the heat for it, and he wanted to continue to serve his country, and so he did what he did best. He led people.
After 6 months, he requested to return to his parliamentary duties and was approved. He would eventually go on to greater successes, and, after taking the originally unpopular stance against the Nazis, he would be ready when his country needed him. The museum has supported his legacy since the 1960s and been visited by leaders ranging from Churchill himself to Margaret Thatcher and even American presidents.
We acquired 8 sections of the Berlin Wall that were sculpted by Edwina Sands, his granddaughter, and Ronald Reagan came in 1990 and dedicated it.
In a way, says Freudenberg, it's fitting for the National Churchill Museum to be located in the heartland of Fulton, Missouri. Churchill himself, who had an American mother, was always fond of the United States.
And he said one time famously, if it had been the other way, my mother had been British, my father had been American, I would have been an American citizen.
For Global Journalist, I'm Batul Hassan.